Hi, Alan Short from Global Business Coaching and coach for I4T Business. I want to talk to you today about tennis, boundaries and burnout. Did you know 42% of business owners are reporting experiencing burnout? And some of the main reasons are lack of vacation, the stress of the job, and lack of work-life balance. As small business owners, as field service business owners, where we're a solo operation or a small operation, we often find that we've only been ever taught one thing: work harder, work longer. And that's the only way to get ahead. But if you're in a big business, you're taught a different system. You're taught about thinking about systems, about automation, and other ways to make the business work for you and be more efficient. So what can we learn from these bigger businesses? The first principle I want to talk to you about today is a thing called Parkinson's principle. Parkinson's principle says that the time that a job takes expands or shrinks to fill the time you've got available. So how do you use that to your advantage? You set yourself a boundary. By setting yourself a boundary, you constrain how much time you've got available, and therefore you're more productive the less time that you've got. And we've all done this, we've all experienced it. The client's giving you all day to do a job, and you take all day to do a job. A different client's giving you 2 or 3 hours to do that same job, and you're productive, you're turned on to the task, and you still get it done. How did the same job take longer when you had a longer time frame? And that's Parkinson's principle. How do you use it to your advantage? Is you set some boundaries. Now, there's a limit to this. You can only reduce your boundaries so much because it takes a minimum amount of time to do anything that you're doing. Now, I hear what you're going to be saying, and what you're thinking is, I can't work any harder. And you said this was about tennis. Tennis is a game of boundaries. Where the ball lands, if it's inside the boundary, it continues to get played. But as soon as it goes outside the boundary, play stops. Same should be done with your work. You should set a boundary. Say it's knock off at 5 o'clock so you can have dinner with your family and you don't go back to work, you spend time with your family. If something arrives after 5 o'clock, it's put off to the next day. It could be that you're going to stop working on Sundays or stop working on the weekend. Whatever your boundaries are, you need to think seriously about putting them in so you can start to get work-life balance. Another boundary might be that you're going to take a week off every set of school holidays or 2 weeks off every quarter. And during that time, you don't take work calls. You set up a system to enable your business to continue to operate and your customers to be serviced without you there. But how does that work? How are you going to do that? There are a number of ways of doing it. One is you eliminate work that doesn't need to be done. We all do that busy work, you know, the stuff you do that you just kind of can lose your whole time to, that really isn't important, that if you didn't do, nobody would miss it, so why are you doing it? Let's eliminate that work. You also need to innovate. Now, let's give an example of this. You're working on a job, you're on the tools for a few hours doing a job. While you're on the tools, the phone is ringing all the time. You're continually interrupted. And what should have been a 1-hour job takes you 3 hours to do because of the continual interruptions. How can you innovate? Well, you could take your phone, divert it to a service that answers most of the inquiries that your customers have, books time for you to go and do a quote, or books time for you to go and do the work, and then takes messages for those that you need to call back later. That's an innovation that means that for that 1 hour, you can do that job. You can also batch your time. So you spend the 1 hour doing the job, and then you spend half hour returning all of those phone calls. Now what took you 2 or 3 hours before has now taken you an hour and a half. You've started to save time and make more money. You could also automate. And this is where programs like I4T Business come in. They enable you to automate some of the communications to your client. They enable you to put all the information in one location so it's easy to find. They make sure that you can invoice straight away, because if you're going to invoice later, we all know that for most of us who are on the tools, invoicing later means invoicing at night and on the weekends, where if you can do it there and then while you're on the job, you've just saved yourself some time. It enables you to take payment while you're at the client's site. If you're doing a small job for a client that you've never serviced before, this is an amazing way of making sure that you collect money quicker. And if you collect money quicker, you spend less time chasing debts and therefore more time making more money, doing more work. I hope that's been helpful. Look forward to talking again soon. Bye.